healed, we're good. Like,
we're not.
no, absolutely.
Yes, we are not.
Healed themselves, and there would be a lot less assholes walking around.
We want you to be happier. We want your families to heal. We want like everybody to find deep joy despite the BS. Welcome to Estrada Sisters Connect. We are your co-hosts. I'm Veronica Estrada.
And I'm Patricia Estrada.
And welcome. This is episode number 1 of season 3. We're super excited to continue this magical endeavor that we started back in May during Mental Health Awareness Month. And just by way of reminder, this was actually my sister's birthday gift to me, having this series that we've always wanted to talk about mental health topics. And we talk about them privately all the time, but we thought like we could be of service to our community at large by talking about it on camera. And so we got the guts and a plan and got on that. So today we're going to recap what we've been doing and encourage you to go back and watch some of our favorite episodes. And then we're also going to be giving you a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up for season 3. But before we get into that, we are going to reintroduce ourselves so that in case you're new here, welcome. You have a sense of who we are and why we're doing this. So this is Estrada Sisters Connect because we are blood sisters. I'm the older sister, Veronica. I'm a year and like 10 months older than Patricia. And Patricia's first name is Patricia. Her middle name is Esmeralda. So that's why her IG is Esmeralda's Road, but she can probably tell you more about that. And I am based in Atlanta, Georgia as of December 2019. I serve as a life coach primarily. That's my favorite thing to do. My second favorite thing to do is host retreats in Tulum in Mexico. And I host private retreats for companies, for groups of friends. And then I host my own retreats that are open sort of to the public. And I also serve as a CBD advocate. And this that you see here is my passion in being a mental health advocate as well. So you'll see on my IG, I have a lot of healers that I feature, entrepreneurs that I feature that are also in the healing and wellness space, but doing things that I'm not an expert in. So I want to share them on my platform so you know there's a lot of things you can do to protect your mental health and to heal. And those are some of the folks that I trust and just want to put their work out there. So that's who I am in a very quick nutshell. And now I'll give it to my sister to give us a little bit of background on her.
So hello, as Veronica said, yes, we are blood sisters, and we are so thankful for the opportunity that we have created for ourselves to heal together in a public space. And thus inspire you to do the same. We want to inspire people to connect with their families and their friends and to look within and examine yourself and then, be vulnerable in sharing your findings with your loved ones, because it's definitely courageous to be vulnerable with others and with yourself as well. So I'm Patricia Estrada. I live in Florence, Italy with my husband, who is Italian. He's from the south of Italy, but he's been living in Florence for over 20 years. And I met him when I was doing an internship in Brazil in 2015. And we've been married for 5 years. So Veronica and I both grew up in LA. In South Central, yet we went to high school on the West Side in the Palisades. And so,
which is super rich and fancy for those of you who do not know. So we were on both sides of the railroad tracks all the time.
Exactly. So that was our upbringing. And so I live here now, and I'm honestly in a season of transition. I can talk about all the things that I did when I first moved here, but in this current moment, ever since 2019, coincidentally, right before the pandemic started, I started a season of transition. And so right now I'm just exploring my options. I introduce myself as a storyteller because that is something that I'm really passionate about and that I'm planning on diving more into, especially in 2022. But I've already been doing it via these episodes that we do. And also I've been doing some private writing and some paid writing. So those are the things that I've been doing. But you'll see from my Instagram that I talk about healing intergenerational trauma through food, Florence, travel, meaningful conversations. That's what I'm about. I want to be very open about mental health and destigmatizing those conversations, because I think that is what's holding us back as a society. So that's me.
Yes, and one thing we didn't mention is that our parents are both Salvadorian, and they, came here as immigrants and now are very, very successfully living the American dream in their own right. And we're really proud of them. So just a little bit of background there. Thanks, sis. So now to recap, for season 1, I'll be super quick and invite you to watch. Half of the episodes are on my page because we wanted to do them live and like off the cuff and keep it really, dynamic. So half of them are on my page. You can go and see them. They're in my IG reels. I have, not reels, in the IGTV, and it specifically says Estrada Sisters Connect series. So you can just go in there and binge watch them. We started off with talking about intergenerational trauma because it's kind of at the root of things. And then we moved on to talking more about like individual trauma that then happens, right? So intergenerational is the stuff that epigenetically gets passed down to us from our families and our ancestors, and then the trauma that we then experience ourselves personally. And we talk about how it showed up in our lives. We talk about very personal stories of how it caused a lot of friction in our lives, to put it very politically correct, but we caused a lot of devastation for ourselves because we didn't heal and we didn't know that we had all this trauma that we needed to heal from. So season 1 is chock full of lessons, stories, personal stories, and we even went very deep into the types of therapies that we've each tried. Each one of us has an episode, and I'm surprised that not more people have seen it because it's like super raw, but I invite you to go watch them.
I think those are the episodes with the most views though.
Oh, really? Okay. Well then, thanks y'all. My bad. So that's what happened in season 1. I feel like we talked about myth busting also, and we did quick updates while Patricia was in the Amalfi Coast. That was a really fun episode. But yeah, and then we did another live also talking about how we keep our joy despite like life happening and throwing things at us that we didn't expect. So definitely encourage you to go watch. Half of those are on mine, the other half are on Patricia's Instagram. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts and share them. And now, Pat, do you want to go over season 2?
Yes. So then after once we realized that life was just going to keep happening and that doing it live every week was not necessarily feasible, we started to pre-record them. So the rest of the season 1 episodes are on my page under IGTV, and then we move on to season 2. And I think that that's when we realized that we're like, okay, well, we kind of have to put like S2 episode, whatever. So you can, those are the season 2 is very clear. And those are all on my page, with the exception of any live ones that we may have done. So if you see that there's not an episode, if you want to go and binge them and you see that there's an episode missing, then that's probably why. It's probably because it's on Veronica's page, because it was a live. Season 2 is all about all the things that you can do at home to support your mental health in order to foster joy. That was the theme of the entire season. And we share all these different things. I mean, all of our episodes, as you will see, are usually under 20 minutes long, maximum 25 minutes. This episode might go long just because of this whole intro that we're doing and this talking, but that's okay. And then also episodes where we have guests in the future might go long, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so we try to keep them under 15, like right at 15 minutes, because we're scratching the surface on all these topics. We are starting the conversation for you, it's sparking curiosity within you so that you can then ask yourself questions, start conversations with your friends and family. And all of the things that we mentioned in season 2 are things like meditation, things like breath work, things like stretching, things like tools, like incense, crystals, essential oils, CBD, etc. So, and we kept talking about, the things that you can do at home for free, because we know that, seeing a therapist once a week is not enough. And also therapy is also expensive. Sometimes people are not ready to start seeing a therapist just yet. Maybe they think they don't need one. Although I think every single person on this planet could benefit from a therapist, but that's my
Agreed.
personal opinion.
Yeah.
But in any case, so that was what season 2 was all about. Veronica, what was your favorite part about season 2?
My favorite part of season 2, I think, was I think sharing about breath work was my favorite part. And then when you accidentally like recorded us in gallery mode and we were like really engrossed in what the other one was saying, like that was just one of my favorite episodes just because. Oh, and the affirmations
I was about to
episode.
say the affirmations one. Sorry, I just threw that question in there just to get some response.
Yeah.
But yeah, the affirmations episode I think was actually one of our favorites that we really didn't expect to be such a favorite. But the breathwork one was also, or was it meditation? Breathwork. Honestly, there were a few favorites, but yeah, that's why we switched to gallery mode this time. That way you guys can see both of us simultaneously. We'll probably keep doing that this way. But yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and tell them a little bit about what they can expect in season 3. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah. So the natural evolution we felt was, first of all, like we sort of opened the kimono of our own healing journey and we shared very transparently like what we've gone through very separately, and then shared our experiences to give you like just a spotlight on ourselves, to be vulnerable and transparent, and we're experts on our own stories, right? So there's that. And then after that, talking about the tools that we use at home, because anxiety is still a real thing and we have a lot to share on that tip, right? So we talk about ourselves and we give shared tools with you that you can start using. And now we are moving into talking to other people about their experience with their mental health journey and their experience with healing and their or their expertise. So we're looking forward to having some trauma specialist, like a therapist that's focused primarily on healing trauma. She's like, if you don't want to heal trauma, like I do not work with you. So I'm excited to talk to her. She's going to be on one of the first episodes where we define trauma, which I know we've been talking a lot about. And we have another guest who we will leave as a big surprise, and talk a Latino man who is very outspoken about his journey also, and comes from a similar background as we do, being first generation college students and pursuing the American dream and all the things. So Rocky has a lot to say about that. So season 3, I'm excited about bringing you other people's stories and sharing their journey, and seeing not only potentially we'll highlight some celebrities who are dealing with mental health situations, or what do you call it, conditions, mental health conditions, and highlighting how despite any condition you might have or you might be healing from, you can still be super successful, live a very fulfilling life, and one that is absolutely full of joy, and mitigate the strife that you're going through. So that's what I'm really excited about season 3. And what about you, sis?
Yeah, so to continue what you were saying, I like to say, rather than calling them what they are, mental illnesses, because yeah, anxiety, depression, PTSD, these are mental illnesses, but I would rather call them mental conditions, because they are conditions that have come about whether through nature or nurture. And I think that the word illness has a negative connotation. And so that's why I would rather call them mental conditions. And what I want to make sure that we highlight in season 3 is that it is not only possible, but actually even more likely that you will live, like if you own your mental condition and you work with it instead of against it, that you will not only live a normal life, but you will live the best life that you can possibly live. So
Mhm.
we're going to work to highlight stories from other people, whether they're experts in their fields on this or just people who are successful in life, not just in business, but in life as well. And people who are open about their mental conditions and owning them, and how they live wonderful lives despite having these conditions. And we're going to highlight, podcast episodes and books and other guests that are going to come on and join us. And so the point of the whole thing is going to be your mental condition does not have to define you. It is simply a part of you, and you have the ability to live a wonderful, joyous life. And if you we want to inspire people to look within and acknowledge these conditions, because that is really, really scary for a lot of people. A lot of people
Mhm.
are doing things to avoid looking in. That's why people have addictions. That's why people are, probably always in a bad mood, because they're just like, oh, the world sucks. Like, life sucks. This is a shithole. Like, I don't want to live here, or like, we have to live here, blah, blah.
Everything's so unfair,
Yeah,
or
like,
the
everybody's
justice system.
everybody's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, sounds like you're, projecting or diverting the attention to someone else rather than to yourself. Like,
Right.
I always say, like, if more people healed themselves, then there would be a lot less assholes walking around. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to highlight in season 3, is the fact that it's more than possible to live a happy, successful life despite living with a mental condition. And I think it actually makes you stronger. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think mental conditions and these sorts of situations can actually be gifts, right? If we have the courage to look at them and then to embrace them and not judge ourselves for them. And that's literally why we're having these conversations out in public. Because, like, I know a lot of my friends are doing healing work, but they're not telling everybody their business. So, like, I just want you to know that you're in a very privileged position to get to hear us and our real stories, because not everybody talks about it. Like, people heal behind the scenes and then they're better and then they're happier and nobody knows what happened, right? So
Mhm.
we're doing everybody a huge service by just talking about this, and I just want to give us props for that, because it takes a whole lot of courage and vulnerability and passion. We want to make the world a better place. Like, when we die, we want to have this record of how we talked about this. Like, we want you to be happier. We want your families to heal. We want, like, everybody to find deep joy despite the BS and the negative thoughts, the anxiety, despite all the things, right? Because it's possible, because we're living it. So
Yeah.
it's a roller coaster, but it's really fun when you can know that you're not alone, and you're not alone just because literally we're right here sharing our stories with you, and you can share yours with us.
Mhm.
So thanks for all of that, sis. And saying, being really concrete about, like, the purpose of this passion project is to inspire you and to give you that courage to go and seek the support and help that maybe you've been holding off on, and you're not alone. You can totally do it. And if there's something that feels off in your life, like, we just strongly, highly recommend you talk to a therapist, because there's support that your best friends, your family, and your circle can't give you that professionals can. And we just want to put it out there, right? Talk to a therapist or talk to a life coach. If you don't know where to start, definitely message us and we can try to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and just like, before we go, I want to add one last thing to that, is that admitting that you have a problem, that you can't handle things anymore, that you need some support, that you need some help, does not mean that you're weak. It does not mean that you're broken. You are super strong for having gotten to where you are despite the difficulties that you face. And I mean, we're going to talk about books and everything down the line, but there's even Oprah and what that doctor, they have that book called
Mm-hmm.
to you,
Yeah.
discussing trauma, healing, etc. So and we'll put that, the name of the actual book.
Yeah, Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah's book, What Happened to You. It's pretty new and it's a conversation about mental health. So I
Exactly.
think it's a little bit easier to read
Right.
also.
And so anyway, the point is that people think that admitting, that if they go within and then they find the problems that they have, that they're going to be broken, that they're weak, that
Or
they
they're crazy, que están locos.
or incapable. But
Right.
actually, all of, like, going through life with these problems has caused us to be stronger, more resilient, although it's becoming overused, this word. I'm tired of being resilient, but it's true. It does make you more resilient, and you do have to develop all these coping mechanisms in order to get through life the way that a person who doesn't have all these mental conditions does.
Right.
So I think it's just important to remember that, and to have normal people who have been through it, because you're looking at us like years down the line of doing work. And there's
Yeah.
still things that we're healing and going through that we're not ready to share yet. And we don't know if we're going to share it ever.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like we're talking to you like, oh, we're healed, we're good. Like,
We're not.
no, absolutely.
Yes, we are not. We still need professional help and support, I think, and community. And that's why we're talking about this stuff, because like we are not perfect. And every day before we shoot this episode, we talk about all the drama and all the BS and all the ways we're still holding ourselves back. Yeah, we have to light exercises. Yeah, we show up in ways that we're not proud of. Like, I know I always talk about like show up in a way that you're proud of in your life, but like I do stuff that I'm not proud of all the time, and it sucks. And I just expect more of myself. And I'm like, I'm a coach, I should do better, I know better, but I'm also human. More than anything, I'm a human being. And here we go, right? We're all like in this human experience. And so there isn't an off ramp except for our friend death. So enjoy it. And that's the whole point of also cultivating joy, because like we're going to keep falling short of our own expectations, and we get to be kind to ourselves through that and pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep going, right?
And we'll have to talk about this in another episode, but being kind to yourself is hard. Being kind to yourself is very uncomfortable when all you've known is you're not doing enough. How come you're not doing this? How come you're not doing that? Your friends are doing better. Why aren't you here yet? Why aren't you doing that yet? So it's easy to say, but we want to also very much be clear that it's not easy, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, and incorporating all these little things. Go back to season 2 and watch all those episodes in order to get to the point where you can be kind to yourself and have compassion for yourself. So
yeah,
it's good, right, sis?
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and watching, sharing, commenting. We so appreciate you and appreciate all the feedback. It really means the world to us. If we can help 1 or 2 people, then, you know, our mission accomplished. So thank you so much for watching and supporting us and letting us know that you hear us and you see us, because we see you and we hear you as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And stay tuned for all the upcoming episodes. Happy holiday season. And we'll see you soon. Bye.